Looks like we're live. How is everybody?
What's going on, everybody?
Got Mopar Al tonight. Let's see who all's in here. I see John Trudell was here, the wrench. Mopar Man 1978. Usually he comes on around second shift. I see he's in here early.
Right.
Aries in here. Rude Mopar Dude, the very polite Rude Mopar Dude. RC Industry, one of our first no-name 500 guys to make it. Unfinished Project is here. Dark Sport. Mopar Mission. Hey, look, Mopar Al's in here. Check that out. You know that guy? Wild Rose Garage, Jerry Franks. All right. Yeah, the wrench, Rob's Rods and Streetcars. They'll all start filing in now that they saw that we're live. So cool. Well, how is everybody tonight? We got NSB Custom Cars in the house. NSB is the stealth way of letting everybody know where they are in Florida.
What's up, Rabbit? Wild Rose?
Yeah. Rapid Transit Jay. So you know all about the meteoric rise of getting subscribers. Jay's went from 200 and some to 500 and was one of the first guys. He and RC Industry were first to get 500. And he now has 1,000 in just a few weeks.
Oh, wow.
So he's on a trajectory that's close to yours. I sure didn't get from 500 to 1,000 that quick.
I tell you what, man, it totally freaked me out. You know, like years ago, yeah. I had originally set up for my band, and it kind of went dormant for a little bit. And you were like one of maybe 3 people on there.
Yeah, I was one of your very first subscribers.
Oh yeah, and that was what, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. I see my Aunt Nancy's here. By the way, you see Nancy Cook. If you see her in the comments, that's my aunt. Her birthday was Sunday. We were down there doing some filming. There's going to be a video come up with her in it, and you guys are going to see it. I'm going to try to have that up here in the next couple of days.
No, cool
and
deal.
It'll be a lot of fun. I see Levi's at 211. Outstanding. Levi, you're going to get there. Big Mike's Hoopty Barn. If you haven't seen Mike's latest video, he had a Chernobyl moment. So hopefully, Mike, you'll make that the thumbnail image for your next video.
I just had somebody comment that I was no BS.
Hello, gents and gentlemen. Yeah, filing in good now. Unfinished Projects at 72. By the way, Unfinished Project, he's a cool guy, got cool stuff going on the farm, building stuff. He spoke in his video for the second time here recently. He said one word in another one, but he spoke the whole video, so check it out. If you're an Unfinished Project fan like I am, you should check it out. Yeah, this thing is really snowballing for these guys. So RC Industry, almost at 1,000. Yeah, he was at 500 a few weeks ago. It's really rolling great for these guys. Well, anyway, I like to greet them all, but we're here to talk with you.
Oh, let's do it, brother.
I mean, you know, so I met Al in the infamous 318 build that will not die from the memory of the people who want it to most.
Right.
But it was a lot. I'll tell you what, put the aftermath of the build aside, I would do it again in a minute because of the great people I met doing. I mean, I loved getting to work with you. Unfortunately, I spent, you know, about 12 hours cleaning carbon and nasty off engine parts and cleaning bolts and bolt holes. But I would do it again in a minute because it was a great experience.
Oh, it was fun, man. I mean, like you said, you put everything off to the side. I mean, I like to do it again. What's up, Litter?
Yeah, so speaking of that, real quick, Mom's in here watching. Her and her sister. See, it's not like Russian collusion. It's family collusion. Both her and her sister are in here keeping tabs on us.
Oh, okay. So I need to keep it family friendly.
Well, all my shows are. Lunar's in the house. Hey, thank you, Lunar. I appreciate that. Yes, hey, I appreciate that. No Name Nationals is a lot of work, but it's a labor of love. Dallas and I are really enjoying it. It is keeping us busy, but we are enjoying it. Thank you, guys. We are going to do our best to give you guys the best possible venue to shine. I can't wait.
Oh,
And I'm glad you feel that way. So do I. So do I. The engine and stuff is like the least of what happened that day.
Right.
You know, I mean, where else do you see a pizza guy putting a tap in a thread for a main ball, right? Oh, check this out. See, now my mom, look at this. They're all chatting with my mom. See, Lunar's chatting with mom.
I see how they are. We'll put mom on here and we'll go get a pizza.
You know what? She's got a standing invite. She can come on here sometime. Who knows? You never know. Anyway, Al. So Al's old name on YouTube before the Mopar Al, more fitting, a superstar like him, was Tasman 1968. That's like the covert handle, right?
Oh yeah. But
you've got a lot of notoriety because you're working on that Slag Hammer project. But you've been doing stuff for years. Like the first day I met you, what was that you were rolling in? Was it a Coronet?
Yeah, that was the 67 Coronet.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Al was rolling a 67 Coronet. And for those of you guys who don't know, Al is the one Tony bought that 66 Dart, that real clean 4-door 66. It's like a gold color.
Oh, Mama's still pissed about that one.
Yeah, that's a cool car.
Oh, it is. And the story on that car was I had bought a 2-door Dart, and with 66, it's a 1-year front end.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking all over the place, and I found that car south of Columbia, Tennessee. And I told the guy what I was wanting to do with it. And I got there and I looked at it. I kept looking at the car, loaded it up, took it and had it washed, got it home, put a gallon's worth of gas in the gas tank, put a battery in it, and it fired up. The car had been sitting for 3 years outside.
Nice.
And I was going to use it as a parts car. I was going to use the front end off of it and some other things, and I just couldn't do it. And I talked with Tony about it and told him, it's like, I don't know what to do. So what I ended up doing was I sold both cars. I got it out of my life.
Yeah. For you guys who don't know, though, so Al, he's rolling around the 67 Coronet. He had the 66 Dart. He lives the lifestyle. So for you guys who only know him from this recent push with the involvement in Tony's build with Slag Hammer, and that's where you're familiar with him, you're missing out on all kinds of other stuff that Al did and does. So he was a Gen III Hemi connoisseur a long way back.
Oh, yeah.
So this new project he's doing with that Gen III Hemi at Kiwis, this is not like a new venture for him. That's a platform he knows a lot about.
Oh, I fell in love with those things a few years back. I mean, they've got the pros and cons, just like any motor. But, man, once you dig into them, you just can't stop.
Yeah. What are your favorite things about running those? I've never done any amount of work on one. Like, I've never had, like, the heads off of one. Everything I've ever done has been just superficial.
Right.
What's your favorite things?
It's kind of set up like an LS motor. I mean, you can sit there and pull the cam out without pulling the lifters out. But to get to the lifters, you got to pull the heads off. They're very easy to build. They can make ridiculous horsepower before you have to start dumping a lot of forged parts in them.
Yeah.
The one we got in the race truck right now, we basically stock bottom end, OCB intake. It's got a nice comp cam in it, HP tunes, header, 6-1 injectors, and it's pushing up 510 horse.
Nice.
At the flywheel. So, I mean, I just love them. I mean, they're expensive. I mean, all Mopars are expensive to build, but the parts access is, the availability is there.
Well, I find that with the later model stuff. See, it's kind of funny. One thing I've talked to a few of my content creator friends about. Oh, real quick, the wrench. Yes, grab that Volare. That's going to be the best driver ever in a few years. As these modern cars have gotten completely out of hand with expense and electronics and all that stuff, 76 Volare will still be rolling.
Oh, dude, I watched that video earlier. I mean, between that and the Jeep, and man, and he's right. I mean, state of Tennessee, man, once that thing crosses the scales and that's it, you can't get the title back on.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you think about it, a lot of the people who are, like environmental warriors and they're real into recycling,
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they don't think about it, but us hot rodders, we're the original recyclers.
Oh, yeah. I
We
mean,
were recycling before they ever thought. So where these guys will try to send a huge virtue signal by putting a pound of cardboard out in a blue box on the curb, we're taking stuff that other people throw away and using it for 50 more years.
oh, yeah.
We're much higher level, higher order recyclers than people like that. They don't give us enough credit.
But yeah, back on the Gen 3 stuff, the only learning curve I've had with it so far is tuning.
Yeah.
And certain years you can tune certain things. So that's been a learning curve, you know, because I'm used to doing the old stuff, you know, like the Coronet. I had a Cuda back in the day and stuff like that. I mean, it was simplified. You had 5 fuses in it. It was said and done and over with. These things have got over 40 something fuses in them. And I think once I crack the tuning part of things, I think I'll start getting a real grasp on it.
So what are okay, we know about the lifter thing, that whole debacle.
Right.
Other than that, because I don't want that to overshadow everything else, do you find any weak points in those things? Like how are the hardware and rods and all that kind of stuff?
Well, on the pre-Eagle motors, which is 03 to 08, they had a bad issue about dropping valve seats.
Okay.
And they rectified that in 09 with the Eagle motor. And the other thing, I mean, I know the oiling issue comes up all the time and stuff like that. There's ways to get around that. You can put a different spring in the oil pump, bring up the pressure a little bit and stuff like that. The lifters was a manufacturing issue.
Yeah.
Now, as far as really a weak point past the oiling part, not really. I mean, because the stock rods and pistons on a pre-Eagle motor, I mean, can handle, you know, just about over 600 horse. And the 09 and up Eagle motors, I mean, they basically got, I mean, better crank in it, better rods. And I mean, a lot of these guys will buy the stuff. There's like one guy, I don't know if you remember or not, has a red Dakota. He did a turbo Hemi swap in, they drag races. And he's pushing almost like 1,300 horse with the stock bottle in.
Wow. Well, the LS stuff, I have done an LS swap. You know, I was talking with some of these other content creators about, you know, what you get known for on YouTube, right?
Right.
So there are people that know you only for sanding on Slag Hammer. And yet there's so much more that you do and have done, but they only have seen that. Well, people mostly see my interviews and my live stuff like this, right? What they don't know is that, you know, I have a 70 swinger that I've had for 29 years, you know, and I do all kinds of other stuff, but nobody sees that. They see this. That's okay. It's just I like for people to know when some of these content creators do a lot of other stuff, I think it's cool to bring it out.
Most definitely, most definitely. I mean, it's like the stuff I do here at the house. I mean, that's all Gen 3 related. You know, like the stuff with Kiwis build, the update on the race truck. You know, it got wrecked here a few weeks ago, and we kept the truck, so we're going to work on it, get it back together. Go ahead and try to run it this year, but we're looking at probably getting a Dakota single cab short base and transfer everything over into it.
Okay. Well, I mean, so Slaghammer is really the odd project for you.
Dude, that thing's been an odd project all the way around, bro.
You have taken that on like a champ, though. So, okay, some people don't know this, but I have seen that car up close before anyone ever started on it. Back when it wasn't sitting on the frame; it was sitting in the back lot behind Tony's storage building back there.
Yeah.
And that quarter panel, I did not think there was any way someone could save that quarter, and Al has done the impossible.
Oh, that back corner of that car was trash. I remember when Tony first bought that car; it was a running driving car, 273. And he drove it around for a few weeks. And back then he was still selling parts.
Yeah.
So he parted that car out. I mean, there was nothing left of it. Like you said, just a shell sitting in the back. And eventually it was probably going to get cut up. And then the thing came up about the Gambler 500. So he was going to make an off-road vehicle. Well, they canceled it because some stuff that happened the year before. So it sat again. And then he's been after me for a couple of years now to do something with him. And, you know, just trying to get the scheduling together and everything else. And when we decided to do this, I was like, yeah, I'll take it on. And man, when I first saw that thing, I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do with this?
I tell you what, though, you've handled it like a champ and all that fabrication and stuff. That car's got a long and interesting story.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, yeah, I mean, we could have went to and cut that quarter panel out. There was a guy down in Atlanta that was actually going to give us a complete back half two door, but we had already gotten so far into that thing.
I'm going to say I like what you did better, and I'll tell you why. Because every other channel would have done exactly that.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is why I don't. This is something I don't understand that the trolls and haters always like to go down the path I don't get. Why do you want all of your channels you watch to do the same things?
Oh, exactly.
So, for instance, like Tony had a video reusing a set of piston rings. Look, you reuse piston rings every time you start your engine. You're reusing the rings from yesterday, right? So people were freaking out about it, but I'm like, look, you can measure the wear in the ring versus the wear in the cylinder.
Yep.
You can check that. You can check the ridge versus the taper, the bore, check your end gap. You can tell the difference between the wear in the ring itself and the cylinder. You could reuse used rings. I mean, thing is, isn't it great to have one channel that's willing to do that? And you see what happens, and you get to learn on somebody else's dime versus chastise him for not doing what 30 other channels don't have the guts to do.
Right.
See, I see a lot of value in that.
Well, I mean, it's like, man, I've been doing that for years. Man, my first motor when I was 16 years old, I didn't even have the money really to build that motor. I had a Buick Apollo with 350 rocket in it, and I had to change rod bearings out at main bearings in the head gasket, and I popped the pistons out and looked at them and everything, and I popped them right back in with the same rings in it and never had an issue. And
yeah,
I mean, unless they're scarred up, if they're still showing good wear and it's going back in the same motor, I mean, go for it. I mean, just check your gap when you put the ring back in and make sure it's still where you want it at. I mean, other than that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them.
The other side of that too is that parts quality has become so hit and miss these days. I would feel way more secure with an iron ring that has proven itself for 50 years than take a chance on some of this stuff in white boxes, those thin, flimsy white boxes from countries you don't know where it's from and you don't know the metallurgy. And, it's funny. You'll go to the parts store and they'll say, oh, those are really good. We've only had a few come back. I'm like, you've had a few come back. How many you sold? Oh, I've sold dozens of them. I'm like, you're bragging about a part that has 5 or 10% failure?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and they talk like that's good. No.
I did a 3.5 swap. I had a Magnum a while back, later model, and I had a 2.7, so I did a 3.5 swap in it. And went to get a starter for it. I went through 4 starters till I found one that actually worked. And it's ridiculous, man.
So when it comes to starters and alternators, all I do anymore is go to the junkyard and look for original ones.
Yep.
Because playing roulette with parts stores, and I don't have anything against any of these parts stores. I mean, we have all within a mile of each other, or not even that. We have O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Advance. We have a Napa that's about a mile away from the 3 of those. We have another private one that's on the same street. And the fact is that you get these parts house rebuilt parts, even the parts house new stuff. It's just flipping coins. It's just a gamble. So I needed a starter for my CRV assault vehicle here a couple of years ago. Starter was getting to where it was kind of intermittent, and it was a starter. So I looked around. I found a junkyard down in Cana, which is about 75, 80 miles from me. And I went down there and I got that starter with about 100,000 miles on it because it's an original Honda starter. I bet that starter will give me 200,000 miles of service.
Oh, yeah.
I would never bet that one of the new Chinese starters or whatever that you get at a parts house would ever do that.
Well, I tell you what's getting hard now is, with us growing up and everything, working on things, we would just run down to our nearest starter alternator rebuild place, and they have all the kits. You walk in there, hey, this is what I need to give you the kit. And you can't even hardly find those anymore.
Mr. Will, thank you. Hey, John and Al just supporting our community and a shout. Hey, yeah, and he loves Al's videos. Al's videos are great. There's a handful of people who I watch all their videos, and Al's one of them.
I'm getting there, man. It's a work in progress. So I'm starting to learn the editing technique a little bit. I'm trying to bring some stuff to the video, but at the same time, I'm still trying to keep it real. The mistakes, the fumbling of the talking stuff, you know.
Well, yeah, but I appreciate that. Mr. Will's got a channel he's got growing. He was at 113 subs yesterday, and I'm hoping to see him progress and step that up because he's got some really cool content, and I really want to see more out of that channel.
Oh,
he's got a lot of cool stuff. He's got a Fall Guy replica truck that I think would be a great video all by itself.
Right.
Yes, Patrick, most oil parts and rust. Most parts houses sell the same junk. Yes, they do. I remember one time I learned my lesson with this when I was 18, 19, 20 years old like that. I got a rack and pinion one time, a rebuilt rack and pinion, A1 Cardone. Don't mind mentioning the brand because they had put their name on it. I don't mind telling what name was put on it. I mean, put it in the car. I don't think it lasted any time at all. The thing had a leak. It was leaking at the rack boot.
Oh, yeah.
I swapped it out. I put in another one. I think the thing had as much play between the rack and the pinion as the one I took out in the first place. Okay. Same company, Cardone. I got a, and I don't know how their stuff is now because I haven't used their stuff in about 15 years.
Right.
Well, I put a CV axle in, right? Had a CV axle was bad, had the outer that was bad. And you know, you don't just get joints anymore, you get the whole shaft, right?
Right.
Literally and figuratively. Well, you know, I put the new one in. It didn't make any noise, but I was driving up a steep hill probably 20 miles later. Thing jumped out of the transmission, wouldn't stay in the transmission. I exchanged, and what it was is they had sandblasted this old rusty core so badly that the circlip wouldn't keep it in the transmission anymore.
Wow.
I'm glad the circlip didn't pop off the inside and get loose in the transmission. At least it came out with the axle. Then I put another one in there, and I bet I didn't get 1,000 miles before the inner joint was making noise. And I figured out what they do is they take these cores in and they just measure all the used stuff, and if it's still in spec, they just slap it together with new boots.
Oh yeah.
And it's garbage. It's garbage. So, you know, I put 4 or 5 axles in that car, and I said, this is junk. So I started going to the junkyard and just whatever I have to do, wherever I have to order it from, I try to get original low mileage stuff as much as possible. And it always is better. It's always a better deal.
Well, it's like reman engines, man. Some of the stuff I have seen tearing one down. I bought a Hemi long block for parts. They had just put it in the lady's car. She got 3,000 miles on it. Started running rough again, so they pulled it out and put another one in. I bought the assembly. It dropped 2 valve seats on 3,000 miles and had 2 different size pistons in it. I mean, they just patch that thing together and they sell it. I mean, it's just crazy, man.
You know, and I was looking too, and I don't know anything about this company. I don't know anything about them, but I want to find a screenshot I took of them. I just saw this. If I've got it handy anyway. So I was looking at, and it doesn't have the, I'll cover up the name. There's this internet company that is selling these remanufactured engines and transmissions and stuff. And they use the most weasel words possible in their descriptions of everything. You know, how it's performance, and they'll say, like, they won't just say a crankshaft's been cut 10 thousandths. They always say it's been precision, you know, refinished and polished for performance to a something spec. And they try to use all these words to make you think they're doing something a lot more exotic than they are. I can't trust a lot of what these rebuilders are selling.
Oh, you can't, man. You can't.
What is this right here? This is a good one. Why can't I pull that up? There we go. Not hard to rebuild unless you have to press some of the bearings out of the case. Which case are we pressing bearings out of? Because that shouldn't be a big deal anyway if you have a press.
Well, I mean, when alternators go, I mean, usually the bearings are one of the last things to go out. Usually the brushes go out or the regulator goes out. But I mean, you can make little things to press bearings in and out with fairly inexpensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Oh yeah. Oh, I have a whole assortment of drifts that, like, so by the press, I have all kinds of old bearing races
right?
because old bearing races are the perfect thing for pressing in new bearing races.
Oh, most definitely.
So, like, I have saved a box full of them. So, whatever I need, I just go through until I find one that's the right size and use that. That kind of stuff.
Right.
This is an interesting one right here. So Lout Burns has seen some Chinese electronic parts using aluminum windings instead of copper. I don't know that I've seen that.
I
I do
have.
remember the aluminum. I remember the aluminum wires in the old Chevrolets that went to the tail lights. Those were a mess
Right.
to try to repair. Remember those? Remember those, like in the celebrities and Chevettes and stuff?
Oh,
They
yeah.
ran an aluminum wire to the tail lights, and the wire was real stiff. It wasn't like copper at all, and you couldn't you couldn't repair it in a conventional manner. It was difficult. I haven't seen that though. You would think that they wouldn't fit in the housings the same because they would be bigger. I would think the aluminum would be bigger to get as much surface area to carry the same current, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah, because you're almost doubling the size of aluminum to do the same thing as a lower gauge copper wire does.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I don't care who thinks what of me for saying it, but generally when I see made in China, that's like last resort tourniquet stuff to me.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
The Fall Guy was an awesome show.
Yeah, it was.
Loved the Fall Guy. Great show. Let me tell you, I'm not a GM guy, but if I was going to have a GM truck, a Fall Guy type of truck, then I have to have the whole, the Eagle and all that stuff. But just to have like a 35-inch tire and that two-tone looked great on that truck. Love it.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. I mean, that's one of the things I liked about that show was that truck. I mean, I've had all kind of vehicles, but I primarily like my Mopar stuff. But that truck, man, that square body, way it was set up.
It was great. It was great. It was great. Oh gosh, I think I saw Dust Devil in the house. Yeah, sure enough. Dust Devil is here. How many subs are you at there, Brian? You should be getting pretty close. Who else we have in here? There's Capri 82. He hangs out with some unsavory company, but he's cool here.
There you go.
All is fine. The Knuckle Duster with 2 exclamation points. I'm surprised I haven't seen Slag Hammer with 2 exclamation points. That's his thing.
Right.
All right, Dust Devil's at 472. You're getting close. If you take the Big Mike's Hoopty Barn route, you'll have to get about 800 before YouTube will show 5, but you can do it.
I'll tell you what, man, that's something I had to get used to. Is some of the analytics on there. It takes like 24 hours for it to go through it in some cases.
Yeah, that's Bear Rose went back and forth from somewhere in the 470s to the 440s several times. So we did one big Bear Rose benefit evening, and we got him over the top. He's good to go now.
Oh, I love that guy, man. I mean, I give him credit being out there in cold weather like that.
That's another thing too that I'm curious to ask you about. So, how many subscribers did you have before your rocket ship thing? Like 40 some?
I think I had 40. Are we talking about me or Bear Rose?
You.
Dude, it was like low, man. It was like double digit numbers. I think
it was 40 something.
Yeah.
You had made your first No Name Nationals video,
right,
in your driveway.
Yep.
You were in your driveway, and I don't know if it might have been before. Or it could have been the same video where you mentioned your race truck had been hit.
The very first video I did, I basically was introducing myself to YouTube, everything we had on the driveway, what we were going to be doing with the projects and everything. And then I went and did my first, I guess, true video over at Tony's on Slaghammer. And after that, dude, it just went straight through the roof.
Right. I mean, so you got 1,000 subs in a day and a half or 2 days or something, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was just, I mean, I showed Tony, he says, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." And he still can't believe it right now.
He and I were talking about that a few days later. He said it's unheard of. He and I were talking about it, just like, you got to be kidding me. I don't know what you mean by that, Brian. Do you mean to tell me that the car that is so infamous, we made you a clock for it, and you're now wanting to replace it? I don't even want to know what that means.
Sound like somebody got frustrated today.
All right. So the Slag Hammer thing.
All right.
So okay. Tony switches gears. He goes from the Desert Runner 2-wheel drive, up a little bit, overlander type thing, right?
Right.
And decides to do the gasser deal right there. All right.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that, and what ideas you have? What was your whole thought going into that project? Because it's really difficult.
When I walked in there, he's like, "Well, come by one day, we'll talk it over, I'll give you some ideas and stuff." And I walked in there and I went, "Oh shit, what are we going to do with this?" So he started giving me his ideas of what he was wanting to do, and then I turned around and was giving him my ideas. And he says, "I want to build a gasser." Well, I'm looking at the frame and the condition of the body and stuff. I was like, let's do a gasser / street free.
Yeah.
Because there's really no rules, as far as building, minus, the roll cage and stuff like that. And he's like, "Well, when can you get started on it?" And I was like, "Well, probably towards the end of the year, probably about December." And I ended up starting on it a month earlier. I started in November.
Okay.
And we started going through it. He's still kind of filling me out. I'm filling him out. I mean, because I met him way back at the old shop buying parts. And he knew I had some knowledge, but he wasn't aware of how much. And with him, I'm looking at him going like, man, this guy knows some things I could only dream of learning.
Yeah.
So that was a good opportunity between both of us. And then he's like, "Well, I want to make it a 2-door." So I came walking in one day, and he had just started on the passenger side. I was looking at it, I was like, man, okay. And all of a sudden, everything just clicked. I was like, here's the idea. This is what we need to do.
Yeah.
And we started going forward with it, and then the front tilt thing came into play.
What has been the hardest thing to do on that car?
Body work. I hate body work. I don't have the patience for it. And
okay, I'll tell on myself. I'll tell something. I think I was talking with just Mopar Joe here, and I said, Al has had such a hard time with the body work on that quarter. I think you could have put a quarter panel from a coronet on there, and it'd been the same amount of work to make it look just like it does now.
Well, what's funny about that was originally that was Tony's baby. That quarter panel was all him. I was doing the body work on the rest of the car. And it got to the point I kept looking at it. And all of a sudden it's like, I want to take this thing over. So I came to the shop one day and he had busted out half the Bondo he already put on there.
Yeah.
And I was telling him because it was starting to do this. It's supposed to be flat through there. It was starting to do this. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump on it. I'm going to make it my little pet project. And I went behind him and I went through it. And I say there was probably ungodly amounts of Bondo in that thing. And then I sanded a lot of it out. And to where it's at now. And I don't know how I was able to do it without really just flipping my lid. I mean, because I want to do body work here at my house.
Right.
If it's more than a 2-foot section, you know what? It's going to stay there.
So Heaven's Mopars, real quick. Yes, I agree with you. Knuckle duster needs to happen. Okay, so here's a question for Al. I think this is an interesting one from Mr. Will.
Oh, dude. What you see on camera, brother, is real life. I mean, it is the man. I love him. I love him to death because of it. Because his brain is like 1,000 miles an hour.
Yes.
And if his mind's set on one thing, it's like I'll come walking in and say something. It's like, hang on, dude, I can't veer from where I'm at right now. I've got to focus on this. But I mean, he is who he is. I mean,
you don't meet people like him just out in the world. He's very different like that.
Oh yeah,
highly intelligent, very intense, but like everybody, we turn it up a little bit for the camera because you got to communicate and keep the energy up. But like, that's him. That is him.
Well, I'll tell you what was funny. We did a video the other day on Kiwi's 440.
Yeah.
Both of us were there tearing the motor down. He was talking as I was tearing it down and everything. And then I did a video on some stuff, and I had a comment, and someone asked me, goes, how is it working with Tony? Is he like, I know he's on camera, he's blah, 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 blah. And I was like, dude, we don't have a problem. I mean, we're two old guys. We both have knowledge. We're both learning off of each other. I know how he is. He knows how I am. And personally, I don't have a problem working with him. And with him, he's finding out every day or every time I'm in the shop on how much stuff I do know.
Yeah.
And every day he just keeps going, wow, man. But I mean, it takes a special person, people to work together.
I found with him, if you get it, okay, if you get it, you don't have any problem working with him at all.
Oh no.
If you get it, and I get it, and some other people get it, but people who don't get it, it won't work. It just won't work, and they'll never understand why it won't work.
Right.
But if you get it, you're fine.
Well, it's kind of like yin and yang. I mean, he's the one that's 100 mile an hour, and I'm the laid back dude.
Yeah.
And we did an update a while back on Slag Hammer where he opened up the hood or the flip nose, and I came out of it, and we're talking and everything else. And one of the people on there is like the video, but Al is boring. It's like, listen, guys, I'm not going to sit there and have a different persona on camera than I am by myself. I am who I am. Now, trust me, I can get lit up like a Christmas tree. But I'm not going to sit there and put little things like this and jump up and down or whatever else. This is who I am. You either like me or you don't.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you've got 3,000 subscribers, so I don't think you can argue with a lot of people like you. So how's that?
Robert's got a good question there.
He does have a good question.
The body of that car is directly welded to the frame. I mean, you might as well call it a mega unibody.
They created a unit. Was it 22 pounds of welding wire long before he was done?
Dude, I think it's up to 80 now.
Yeah, right.
But
it is a unibody now.
So I mean, whatever twist, bang, whatever, you're gonna feel it. There's nothing to absorb it. It's there. I mean, it's not coming off.
All right, MM78's talking about being rained out. We'll see.
Mm.
All right, a lot of crosstalk. Let's catch up to see where they are. One other thing, just while we're talking about it, that's a working with Tony thing. You can divide people in all kinds of different ways, right?
Right.
You can divide them, short, tall, dark, light, male, female, smart, dumb. There's all kinds of ways you could categorize people, right?
Right.
One way is as a person, are they an idea person, a things person, or a people person? Right? Tony is like off the chart idea person. And the people who are things people oftentimes just don't get it at all.
Oh, they don't.
And it's like Plan Z. Plan Z must have a Chrysler rear end in it.
Right.
Because that's part of the vision. And people who say, yeah, but you could run an 8.8 Ford or this. I get it, but we're not chasing numbers. It's part of the purity of a vision. It's an idea. And the idea is what's important there, not the things.
Well, and that goes back to the whole reason why he started that channel. this is for the guy out in the garage. This is for the guy who doesn't have a crap load of money. You know, you use what you have. You scavenge where you need to scavenge from. And, you know, and we get comments all the time, even on my videos. Well, just go out and go buy this, that, and the other. Okay, well, I'm not going to go spend $15,000 worth of stuff.
Right. The less you spend on stuff, the more you get to experiment with it.
Oh, exactly.
And to me, that's a lot of the fun. Slag Hammer has air suspension, the air in the tires.
You got that right.
So what tire are you guys think you're going to run?
We're going to try to find. Tony's got a set of 29 1050s at the house.
But he's on the Belvedere?
Yeah, and he's going to bring those over. We're going to put those on.
Well, that's going to look good.
And see what it's going to look like. Now, the video I posted today, I borrowed the Junkyard Jacks guys' slicks that they got for their car.
Right.
Especially for the rims and stuff. And I think it's like a 275 tire. And I put it on it just to get an idea of what's going to look like. That I want to see this thing roll. This thing's been on jack stands since November. But we're going to try the 29 1050s, see how they are. If not, we'll probably go with like a 30 10x50.
Hey, Wrench, let me tell you something. The difference between sight and vision. Sight is being able to see things. Vision is being able to see ideas.
Yep.
If you don't know what it means, we know which category you're in. Got to find the stance. I think on that car, the stance found you. That thing's got a wicked stance to it.
I tell you what, if you go look at the video, I don't know if you saw the video today I put out.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
But man, that's going to be a nice stance. And I had one guy ask me, he goes, well, how's it going to fit in there with the motor? How much is it going to drop? Well, Tony and I and another guy got on the front of this car.
Yeah.
Trying to get as much weight on there would be for the motor and the transmission. And the car only dropped 1.5 inches.
Wow.
You know, so I figured,
you got those truck springs.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I figured, you know, the front might be like 2 inches higher than the back, just enough to give it a little nudge towards the rear when you take off.
I was waiting for somebody to make like a Carolina squat comment, not realizing that you still have another at least 800-900 pounds more to put in that front end.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll come back down.
Oh,
Mr. Will, thank you kindly. Did you check out my scam video? I have that video marked in my watch later because I really want to see it, but I couldn't watch it at the premiere. I do want to see that. And I haven't checked it out, so I obviously can't recommend something I haven't checked out yet. But it looks really cool. I'm going to watch it. Mr. Will's got a car buying video that looks like it's going to be pretty cool. I had a G-body in the thumbnail. I want to see it.
I have to watch that after we're done.
Yeah, and Wild Rose, he has a gasser, and I'll tell you, yeah, he has a common.
No doubt, brother. No doubt. I mean, people don't realize. I mean, with the straight axle front ends, even with the if you get the gasser kit and stuff, it's got the smaller springs and stuff on it.
Yeah,
they don't move that much, and so I'm not too worried about once we get the motor and stuff in it. So.
Well, and the front springs act a lot differently than the rear springs too. You know, as far as how the car works. Well, Unfinished Project, would you like to give us your Cliff Notes? Give us your review of that video. And we'll make that a trailer for it on this channel so people can watch it after they watch this. How's that?
There you go.
Oh, and before I forget, in about 46 minutes, which will be 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, Rabid Transit Garage is going to have a live on his channel. So if you guys are sticking around, just remember, and we'll hop off of here, and I'll try to, move over into that. I plan on stopping by. So.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to think. While I was brought up, it's a Speedway kit.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't have any experience doing straight axle stuff at all. Have you worked with one of those, like any of those aftermarket kits?
I haven't personally. I mean, all my straight axle stuff was on trucks. You know, I'm originally from Florida, so what we did down there is either go to the beach, get drunk, or go out and go mudding. And we used to build mud trucks all the time. And so that's where I got a lot of my fabrication experience from. Okay. I mean, we used to take things like a Chevy Love and put it up on ton-and-a-half military running gear on 52s. We took a we took a 240Z, put it on a Suzuki Samurai frame. We had to shorten the frame or extend the frame 27 inches to accommodate the wheelbase of the Z, and had a small block tunnel ram in it, sitting on 48s, and we never used a four-wheel drive. That car was so light, and it just rear wheeled it all day long. But that's what we did. We did growing up. We built motors and fabricated. And
can you do some of that on your channel? Show pictures from that, because that'd be really cool to see.
Dude, I like to find pictures of it. I have to get with my cousin Andy on that one, and if he's got some pictures of it, have him send it to me.
That's a bummer about. So the generation after us has lived their entire life with phones that do video and stuff like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
The stuff I did way back there, I mean, I have pictures of next to none of it. Sometimes I'll find like one picture that I took with a Kodak 110 or something, and sometimes just nothing got videoed or photographed at all.
Oh, I heard it was. That's how it was back then. You didn't think about it. And it was like these days, man, I mean, everything's like a click. There it is. It's saved. It's on the internet. It's on iCloud or whatever else.
Well, see, that's because I think part of what drives it, the technology makes it possible, yes. But I think part of what drives it is we've watched how much worse the world's gotten in a few years. And we're thinking, gee, if we don't want to lose this stuff, we got to take pictures of it now. Because back then, we never saw it coming.
I tell you, the biggest thing I get all the time on Slaghammer is when I did the video and I put the front tires on the car and set it on the ground. And the comments I got off that thing, that axle's too wide. You need to narrow it up and blah, blah, blah. The whole purpose of this car with the Street Freak, it's going to have a wide stance.
It's supposed to freak people out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's like today when I posted the video today, I had about 5 or 6 people. Need to get rid of that. You know what? It goes back down to a budget. It goes back down to what can I do with what I have. And this is where the Street Freak idea came into play. It's going to be a gas street. It's going to have a wide stance. It's going to be loud, obnoxious, nasty. I'm probably going to have to wear earplugs in that damn thing when I drive it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I wear the Ghost Strikes when I shoot long guns.
Right.
Because they don't get in the way of the stock. And that's an inexpensive electronic ear. You can hear everything goes on, cancels the sound.
Right.
And Buzz can't see them when you have them in driving by, so you won't get ticketed like you might for our headphones. Just a thought.
Oh, that kills me, man. It's like I drive a truck for a living, and all the truck drivers I see, they've got their Beats audio things on driving down the road. It's like, you know, they can't hear what's going on around them. What's up here, hot rods?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff we just don't have pictures from, and that's just unfortunate.
Oh, and it kills me too, especially you know, the older we got now. It's like, yeah, I remember, man, I wish I had those pictures still.
The best burnout I've ever done in my life. I mean, I wish Google Maps had been around then, or like the aerial, because I bet you could still see the marks from that for months on an overhead.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
And if I'd done that today, there'd have been a camera rolling. And it would have been too long to do a YouTube short. It was a rolling burnout. Yeah, so Andrew is noting the difference between a Street Freak and a gasser. They are related, but they are not the same thing.
Exactly. I mean, because with the gassers and stuff, you know, the front axle has to be a certain width, has to be a certain setup. That's why everybody does like the speedway setups and stuff like that. A Street Freak, man, there's no rules. Like I said earlier, I mean, unless you put a roll cage in it and you're going to run a certain time or something like that, then you got to go by those rules. But as far as the car, I mean, there's really no rules to it.
Okay, so your competitor here for No Name Nationals, he's fishing for intel. You want to help Nolan out there?
Well, I tell you what was funny was I took a picture the other day of Kiwi's 446 pack in the back of my truck, and he Wild Rose Center popped up and goes, "Oh, I see. That's going to Slaghammer, huh?" It's going to be all motor, brother. All motor.
All right. So, dying to know about this one. How much and what do you want to tell us about that 446 pack that you and Tony are digging into?
Well, I mean, basically everything we said so far. I mean, Kiwi got it in a deal, not so much as a monetary type deal, but it was kind of exchange of goods.
I kind of know where it came from.
Well, we all do.
And I was trying to find some video of it, but unsuccessful so far.
I tell you what's funny is that video started coming out. I know the guy that lives in Ohio that built one similar to that has got a crap load of views on that video that he did 9 months ago. I mean, everybody thought it was that motor, and it's not.
Yeah.
Basically, what with that motor was he traded for services. Now, everything from the block up is brand new, brother. Never been touched, never been ran. The pistons are new in it. The rods and the crank and stuff were used. The block was 430 over, but I don't know if it was just like a slap together type ordeal where this certain that you and I know kind of where it came from. You know, did it come off their shelves from another build or whatever else? And the biggest thing I get from people is, well, we want to know what's up with this or how much Kiwi paid for it. You know, to be honest with you guys, it's none of my business.
Yeah.
It's none of y'all's business. It's something he picked up and he wanted us to go through it. And I'm glad we did. I mean, I've had people sit and tell me, well, it was put together. Why didn't you just throw it in and start it up? Well, guess what? There wasn't no
well, you wouldn't have.
You know, but we talked with Kiwi, and Kiwi's now wanting to do a stroker kit of it.
Well, you know, so I looked at that cam. Well, that looks like a shaving from a lathe that was in that oil hole on the journal. On the video. Is that what it was? That's what it looked like.
I don't know. I mean, because if you look at the lows on the cam, you can tell that thing's never been ran.
Yeah.
And so most likely it was probably from the manufacturer, or it might have been where somebody might have been cleaning some parts. I don't know. And
did you ever figure out what kind of cam it is or measure it out or anything?
I haven't looked up the number yet. I know it's not a comp cam or anything like that. To me, it looks like a regular Mopar replacement, like truck cam.
Yeah.
Or an RV cam. And I was actually going to do that today, but I kind of got involved working on Slag Hammer. But I'm going to pull the numbers up. Most likely, though, it's just going to be a stock cam.
Well, I mean, of course, if you just make an engine for a prop, what kind of cam does it need to have? I mean, they didn't tighten the intake bolts, didn't put any push rods in, or didn't clean anything. I mean, I don't know why it needs a cam.
Yeah. Now I know Kiwi's got a box of more parts. So he thinks he has the oil pump and the harmonic balancer and stuff like that. So he's supposed to be bringing that by probably within the next week. But like I said, he came over the other day. We talked about with the crank and everything. And I mean, the crank, I mean, to me, better job could have been done on it. There were so many scratches on it and like little, I mean, to the point it almost looked like there's little cracks going on in it.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. You know, we're just going ahead and finish the build up, and it's going to be a totally brand new motor.
Yeah, well, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I saw a different 446 barrel that was being built on a TV show, and those guys were high-fiving over it making 501 pound-feet of torque and 424 horsepower.
Right.
High-fiving over 1.13 pound-feet of torque per cubic inch. We're going to make really close to 500 pound-feet with my 340.
Right.
I don't know what those guys are celebrating. That's pitiful.
Oh, I mean, it is. I mean, because you can get so much more out of those motors, man. I mean.
Oh yeah.
And it does. You know as well as I did the older stuff, man. You know, anything that was up to what was it, 71 before they started doing all the emissions BS on them. I mean, you could sit there for $300 and build a small block, and just by changing parts out, like on a 318, 360, 340, and gain 100-something horse with no problem.
Could you imagine if we took the old designs from the late 60s, early 70s, and had all the advantages that they have today with their castings and metallurgy and all of that? those engines would be amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like someone was asking, the other day, what year block that was. It's a 77 block. I mean, it was an emissions motor, but at the same time, I mean, the webbing and everything things was a lot bigger than the older models.
Absolutely. Those are the ones to get.
Oh, most definitely.
Henry, a bunch. But I don't want to give a confusing number because registrations, people, car count, declarations that haven't registered, they're all different numbers. But I got yours.
Is there a vacant lot next door to this drag strip?
Actually, there is, and we're reaching out to him where there's a vacant lot, and there's also a church with a big parking lot, and we're talking to both of them for parking.
Because, dude, I mean, I said a while back, what you and Dallas have done is absolutely exploded.
It's exciting, man. It's
I mean, there's already people asking about, is there going to be one next year? Of course, I even asked that question.
I had to get a big, thick book just to keep up with the registrations. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's really exciting. Junk Car Willie here.
Ooh.
He's saying only 52 still far away. You're closer than you think because 448 subs can go by in the blink of an eye with the right content and so forth. So here's the thing. You guys who are getting registered, it's not fair for us, I say us, I mean Dallas and I, to put our energies into folks who may or may not be coming, who have not even risked an entry fee, right? But for you guys who are registered, something I'm thinking of doing pretty soon is a little private workshop via StreamYard for channels who are registered who want help in getting videos that get more views and more subscribers. I'm thinking about doing that. I saw today, I watched Big Hoopty Barn Mike's video. Mike had a big fiery explosion in it, and it wasn't in the thumbnail and it wasn't in the description. That video lost half the views by not having that. And they're easy to do.
Right.
In the workshop, we're going to talk about that kind of stuff. Because if there's anybody who shouldn't have 2,000 subscribers but does, it's me. But it's because I try to do the little things right? Yeah, absolutely. So get registered for the No Name Nationals because every time we look for contest opportunities, ways to push, ways to help people, that's who we're going to. We're looking to the folks who are registered. And, of course, the No Name 500 guys first.
I mean, I tell you what, man, it is bringing everybody out of the woodwork. And I watched some of these guys' videos and stuff, and I'm amazed with a lot of them. It's like so it gives everybody an opportunity.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And it's not just for small channels. I hear people say that, and I'm like, what are you talking about? The first channel to jump in before registration was even open was Uncle Tony's Garage. First channel we had was 230,000 subscribers. And the second channel, they put their match race together in the comments, was he in Unity Motorsports, which is 15,000 subscribers.
Williamson's got an interesting question here for you.
What's that?
Is there still going to be some type of cruise-in/show at the No Name Nationals? Was planning to do a road trip as a spectator.
Here's the thing. We don't have many people who are just wanting to show. Virtually everybody who wants to be there wants to go down the track. But here's the thing. You can still come down there and register and just leave your car as a show because the pits are going to be more full of people at this event than any event ever because that's where people want to be. They don't want to just sit in the stand and look at the cars. They want to be in the pits and meet the content creators. So yes, bring your car, and we'll put you in a place where you won't be as bothered by the traffic coming in and out to go to the run and in the staging lanes. But sure, you can always do that. There'll still be some kind of show there. I just don't know how many people only want to show. As far as a cruise in, we'll look and see how much interest there is closer to time. Yes, and Andrew Nelson. His channel, he has some really cool stuff. Check out, Nivlac57. He doesn't use that channel to post comments, but man, he's got a lot of cool hardware over there. So check it out. I'm excited to have all of you guys there. But we have channels ranging from 500 subscribers all the way up to we have channel that's almost 1 million subscribers right now, and we may have some that are 1 million or over by that time. We don't know yet, so we'll see. I do know some big channels that have told me they're coming. Thing is, it's not for me to spoil their announcement telling people I'm going to let them make the announcement. Like Poor Boy's Garage. I knew he was coming for months, but he waited till March to make his announcement when he knew what he wanted to do, what he wanted to bring, right? But I knew that a long time ago. So
what's up, man?
Bad Tree Production Blake in the house. How you doing? Glad you could make it. Oh, and just Mopar Joe. Y'all better straighten up. The mods are all in here.
I tell you what, he's going to be my new friend. We're going to try to meet up in Memphis. And
yes.
And I texted him the other day. I don't know if he ever got to me or not. I don't know if he was going to try to do the hot rod tour or not.
Well, Just Mopar Joe is a great guy. I can tell you that. Great guy, great channel, and you should check it out. He's a real deal.
Oh, I like him. He's like me.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He's laid back. I mean, but he does some great work. I mean, I started following him before I even had my own YouTube channel.
He's really good without the least hint of arrogance. I admire that. I think it's cool. I don't know what you're talking about there, Unfinished Project, but okay. And maybe it goes with this. I don't know that either, but that's cool. See, look at all the Just Mopar Joe comments that keep flooding in here. See?
Oh, yeah.
Rockstar.
I mean,
that's what I like about my mods. They're all bigger channels than me. They're the stars here, not me. I just do these lives so they can chat with their people.
I tell you what, man, I really see his channel really blowing up in the next year or two.
Oh, it can. His channel has a little bit of a niche because it's got to be people that like cool old Mopars, but it's practically recession proof because it's a good channel. So.
Well, it's like with me when Tony and I were talking about it. He said, you kind of set yourself in a certain genre of vehicles. Well, that's all. Okay. That's all I want to do. I mean, I'll talk about other cars and stuff like that. Where he's set up to where, I mean, he's a Mopar guy through, but he loves working on anything, and he'll talk about anything: Ford, Chevy, Studebakers, whatever else.
Yeah. I don't think you have to try to be all things to all people. No. I think you can have a great channel that's bigger than you can handle with a niche. I think that's okay. Right. It doesn't have to be, extremely fluid like that. I mean, and some people want it to be more that way than others, but I think there's a balance. You can have it to be too universal or not universal enough. And you got to find that balance.
Dust Devil's getting close, man. Everybody needs to go there who hasn't subbed to him yet. Get with it, brother. He's got 479.
Well, we're close. When people get close and it's relative to how quick they're climbing, I like to try to jump in and give them a push. But Dust Devil's getting close. So we'll play that. We're getting close. Moderators of the Blue Racers.
But no, I mean, Slaghammer is going to be, a good build. I mean, it's going to have a little bit of everything in it. I can't wait to get the paint on it. And everybody's been asking about the color, and it's like, we're not going to let you know until it happens.
Wild Rose says all brands have their good and bad. I like them all. Do you like Saabs? That's the question. Do you like the Saab?
I have to confess. Back when I was in my teens, I used to like Saabs.
Really?
I did. It was. They were so ugly. They were cute.
Well, thank you for coming out of the closet here, Al. We're honored.
Hey, I am who I am.
The thing about a Saab, I remember the oldest ones had the belt on the back facing the firewall.
Oh, God, yeah.
That was the strangest thing. I never understood that.
Oh, I thought it was strange when Chevrolet decided to put the starter underneath the intake. So, I mean.
All right. Do you have a Saab story? That's a good point Doc Fisher has there. Do you have a Saab story?
The Saab story was, I never owned one.
I'm sorry if you have to work on them, man. We all gotta. Blake. I say truly, Blake is one of the most creative people on YouTube. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Man, look at all these sob comments. My goodness.
See what happened? They're all coming out.
Whoever knew? You know what? The only time I ever think of a sob is when I think of that 1988 Richard Pryor movie, Moving. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You guys that haven't seen it, Richard Pryor, the name of the movie is Moving, and it's from 1988. It's kind of obscure, but it's hilarious. And it has a sob in it.
Can't make movies like that anymore without getting everybody.
No,
hurt.
you cannot. Well, there's no Richard Pryor anymore, and there will never be another Richard Pryor. So, no, you can't.
Ooh. I just got to ask $1 million question.
I knew which one.
What is man? I love them all, man. I love the ugly ones, the nice looking ones, the overrated ones. I mean, me personally, I can go either way, man. I can go E-body, A-body, B-body, C-body. I mean, I just love them all.
Well, Tony's in the house. Tony's in the house. So now you got to say the answer to that is Slaghammer. That's the only answer you can now give because Tony's watching.
Well, I mean, that's the only. I've been eating, sleeping, and dreaming, and nightmaring over that car since we got started on it. So yeah, it's the majority of my brain thought right now.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in. We've been grilling Al a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, so everybody has things that they agree with people, disagree with people, think the same thing different. There's a few things where I really agree. Like when Tony says that his favorite is the 1960 to 1980 Mopar, like one decade off the peak in each direction.
Right.
That is exactly right in my mind.
Yeah.
It's that's one thing I completely agree with.
In reality, with the older cars, man,
We're not. We're just
talking
about
the 50s, 60s, 70s. The body lines were amazing on all the cars when they were coming out back in the day. It's like me. I love the Corvettes. I won't own one. I won't drive them. I'll look at it all day long.
No, I agree with that. Like, I like the Shark Vets. And I think a cool look is a Shark Vet with a 454, and the Hot Wheels looking wheels in the back and kind of like a Corvette summer deal. I think that's really cool. But I don't need to own that.
No.
My driveway has one design language in it, and that is old Mopar. And I don't want to get into things that require me. Okay, you know what kills it for a Corvette for me? If nothing else, that stupid parking brake on the wrong side. It feels like it's broken. And you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
I can't stand that. That could be the one reason I would never have one right there. And then there's 100 others, but that's like
Tony tells everybody all the time. He loves all cars, all doors. He doesn't count doors.
Right.
And that's how I've seen some real nice 4-doors that I like better than the 2-door versions.
I really do too. You know what? So I didn't used to appreciate 4-doors as much as I do now, but I really like them because not only do they have all the same stuff, they have more of it. They have a little bit more to the way the body lines are done. They have an extra set of door handles. They have, the trim's a little different, and I kind of like that. I think if I wanted to build it might sound crazy, but I really like the look of the 69 Coronet and Super B. I love that grill, right? I just think it would look so cool done in a 4-door.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but I think it would look good.
Well,
I kind of regret not knocking on the door about a 4-door 70 Coronet I saw a few years ago, and I still kick myself for that.
Well, it's like when we got the 67 Coronet, we bought it down in Florida, and a friend of mine had it at a shop. And my son, it was going to be his first car to get his hands dirty. Because him and I, when he got a certain age, we had a situation to where we really couldn't find something to do together. He was busy either wanting to do the video game thing, or whatever else. And we went down there, and I said, "Now it's a 4-door." He said, "You know what, Dad? I don't care. That means I can haul more friends in the car."
Yeah.
You know.
You know what? Young people don't have that aversion because they've grown up with the SUVs and stuff like that.
Right.
The 4-door thing doesn't. It's not the same. Andy Wood, Unity Motorsports in the house. Andy and I have some stuff coming up together we're going to be doing here pretty soon. You guys might find interesting, so stay tuned for that.
I think you're going down there in what, April?
I'll be down there April 1 and 2. Mr. Will, I was looking for your super chat. You had one. I'm going to go back. You know what? I don't know how I could have missed that, because I saw 2 of them and I acknowledged him. If you send a third one, oh, here we go. Yeah, man. Mr. Will's Dying Breed Garage. Please give my channel a shout out. I did. I'll gladly give it another one.
And another one.
Mr. Will is at 113 subscribers. And if you really want a real shout out, do a walk around of your Fall Guy truck. I am all about that.
Right?
Yeah, man. Sorry about that. Thanks. If you're not okay, some of these project, hang on a minute. Okay, got to get current there. Newports are cool, yes they are, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So what the other than okay? So you got the Slag Hammer coming up. You're going to do Power Tour with that. You're doing a 383, right?
Right.
Okay. What do you have looking down the road? Like, so you're going to do a bigger engine for No Name Nationals. Do you want to tell us anything about that? Or do you want to say, oh, no, I got my match race in the chat here. I don't want to say
It's no problem. I mean, it's been discussed before in Tony's videos and stuff like that. We're going to take a 400 and stroke it out.
Excellent. No, so I'm looking forward to that, especially some big block content on the channel.
Yeah. The only reason we're, like I said, doing the 383 is for dependability. It's going to have a different gear in the back and stuff, because the hot rod tour, I added it all up. By the time I get done, I'm already going to have about 1,700 miles on that car by the time I drive it to Memphis from where we're at in Middle Tennessee, and then do the whole tour, and it ends in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'll be having to drive from Atlanta back to Middle Tennessee. So we wanted something that was going to be dependable, a little easy on the gas. Now, when we swap over and get ready things to do the drag strip and No Name, I mean, yeah, things are going to get changed. And
that is an ideal car for swapping the engine out in.
Dude, there's so much room.
You can just sit in there on the frame and probably do bell housing bolts and everything. That's cool. RC, you're doing the Power Tour. Excellent. I want to do more stuff like that. I can't do it because of No Name Nationals this year, but what I'm hoping is next year, because this event already looks like it'll certainly be successful enough to do it again and again, but I'm hoping that we'll have enough of a template, enough of a bank account, and those things that next year will be not nearly as demanding administratively, so that I can do more stuff like that. I'm hoping to be able to do that. This is a good question right here. Did you have a bent rod?
Well, I mean, when it was in the block and everything, when we were checking everything over, it looked odd. It wasn't centered like the rest of them were. So to me, it looked like it had a slight bend in it. And Tony thought so as well. We have not inspected all the rods yet since it's been out of the motor, because the directions have now changed on this motor. I mean, it's getting a complete stroker kit. That's everything. It's the crank, the rods, the pistons, everything. So we kind of just chilled back on that. We really hadn't even thought about it anymore, because now we're moving forward with the motor.
Well, thank you, Levi. I appreciate that. These super chats go directly back into this channel. If you notice, I don't have a shadow on one side of my face anymore. It's because I got a second light. That's it. That's the first thing I'll do is super chat. And I did. I spied this today, so y'all can check that out. So a friend of mine, well, it's a 70s, it's a 70s Dodge truck.
Right.
And what I can tell is it's got the 4.5-inch bolt pattern, and it's got an 8 1/4 rear end in it.
So it's kind of like a D100.
And the frame looks like it's bent, and it's really stripped out.
Right.
Now, I saw that a buddy of mine has an impound lot. It's sitting in there. He just texted me just now and said he doesn't know what the story is, but he knows who owns it. If that guy's parting that out, I can use a few things off of that. So hopefully I'll get in his lot there, and we'll do a video of that truck, just see what we got. Because I can see a few Roadrunner parts from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that frame looks like it's toast. All right. I see Nolan's trying to harvest more intel here. Is the stroker going to have iron heads?
Well, I mean, which one are we talking about? We just talked about Kiwis.
I'm assuming he means Slag Hammer stroker.
Yeah, it's gonna have regular iron heads on it. Like I said, man, we're on a budget.
And by the way, since Big Hoopty Barn Mike's in here, for those of you who did not see Big Mike's Hoopty Barn's latest video, you missed that. So check it out. Bubba Ayers, you had 383 yesterday, so it looks like they're auditing you too. Lout, how's the market holding up? I just sold a commercial shop today. So, okay from where I sit.
Right.
So going to drop another reminder in here. In 13 minutes, we've got Rapid Transit Garage is going to be live on his channel. He just got 1,000 subs, and I told him that I would try to announce it on here a couple times for different shifts of people coming in. So I'm going to go over there. I hope you guys will too.
But yeah, here's the picture of the Coronet when my son was racing it. I don't know if I can get it close to the camera or not.
Oh yeah, there she is. That's cool.
But so yeah, he had a blast with that car.
67?
67, yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's so cool. I like it. All right, guys. You have anything else you want to ask Mopar Al? Now will be a good time to do it. And I wanted to ask you something too. Just you say you're from Florida. How long have you been in Tennessee now?
I moved up here in 98.
98? Okay. So you've seen a lot of change.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Very cool. It's I've been where I am since 96, and I've seen a lot of change here.
Oh yeah.
My hometown is not anything like it was when I left it either.
Right. Now, when I first came up here, I came up here with my dad because my dad was having some health issues. And of course, I'm also a musician. I just recently kind of put that off to the side now when I was diagnosed with RA back in last January, so it makes it hard for me to play my drums anymore. Okay. But I was real heavy in the music scene and stuff in Nashville and stuff. I have my own band. I just recently retired called Monkey Ranch. We did bike rallies and stuff like that. That was my second stress relief besides building motors and stuff.
What kind of change? Look around.
Dude.
Look around.
Things are changing daily, yearly, monthly. I mean, it's so fast you can't keep up with it anymore.
Anyone mention it's 318 day? It's always 318 day if you got the right stuff in your driveway.
Oh, yeah.
It's 318 day every day for me.
Oh, I love the 318. I love small block Mopars in general.
Who wants to race a 69 Charger with a 383 if I make it? Well, that's kind of a cruel question. Why don't you rephrase it and just say, hey, my 69 Charger with a 383 is going to be there. Who's going to race me?
Let's see. Right? Willie King just asked me a question.
That's a good question.
Want to know if there was any type of an analog system for the newer Hemis. As far as I know, I don't think so. I haven't seen them. Now Holly and some other manufacturers do what's called a standalone computer system for them, where you can put them in your older 60, 70 cars and stuff like that. And the prices come down quite a bit over the years on that. And you can run your 727 transmission with it, whatever else.
It's a good question. What's your thought on that?
Haven't really thought about it yet.
Yeah, it's not a bad question.
It's not a bad question. I mean, Tony's basically doing the build on the 383, so it's whatever he's going to be putting in it.
That's a good question there too.
I mean, it all depends. I mean, you can pour a set of iron heads out, and depending on what head it is, if it's closed chain or open chain, I mean, you can almost get pretty close to almost the same flow numbers. The only thing you're different is you're sacrificing just with more weight on top of the motor.
I like iron heads. I really do. They're just heavy. But if you drive like I do, like a slug, it doesn't really matter. All right. So now here's the real question. Blake wants to know who your favorite drummer is.
Well, if he's in my age group, he knows who my favorite drummer is, and that's Neil Peart.
Blake is a lot younger than you.
And God rest his soul, he passed away a couple years ago.
Now, according to Dean, full groove is fine if you're not hammering on it with the spray.
Right.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on this one? I love the fine 5.9 Magnum with the parts availability. You think a 383 will be, what are you talking about?
Dude, there's a parts problem with both platforms.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, we were looking the other day, we're needing some pistons and stuff on an engine job, and we only need 2, and I want to replace all of them. And the ones we got that are needing are 0 deck, and you can't find them unless they're for a bored out motor. Everything you find that will fit this particular motor is all under deck. I mean, it's stupid right now.
I don't even get that question because I can go to a junkyard and still find a 5.9 Magnum. Good luck finding a 383 in a yard.
Right. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, because 5.9 availability is still out. Man, you can buy complete running motors for $500 or $600.
Exactly. You're not going to do that with a 383. Wheelie King, yeah. To me, the biggest one is weight. The biggest one is weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are other advantages to aluminum. I wouldn't mind having aluminum heads, but a lot of my applications, I don't want them. Just meaning parts, I have the engines, but that still doesn't matter. The 5.9 stuff is still.
It's still relevant. I mean,
exactly.
It's like, for instance, you not endorsing anybody, you can go to rockauto.com and find stuff all day long for the Magnum motor. You try to find stuff for 383 or something like that, it's hard to get.
Hey, J-Bo, it's the G is silent and it's DeFeo. No, it's DeFeo, like the Amityville. Yeah, that's like that.
And I tell you what, to be honest with you, those Magnum motors, man, I love them. You can build the crap out of them.
You know, I don't like fuel injection. That's just me. I like carburetors. But I'll say the Magnum really was the last great evolution of the LA engine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and for that platform, they make intakes, that you can put carburetor on and go old school with it.
I'm not really willing to give it that, Dustin, because I see too many aftermarket heads that really just aren't all they should be.
Right. Well, it's like the Junkyard Jazz. That's a 360 Magnum.
Yeah.
Carbureted. So I'm actually looking forward to see how it does once they get in the car.
Right on, Willie King. I'm all about carburetors. Just picked up a 99 5.9 Magnum, harness, ECU, everything. $600, 96,000 miles. That is a great engine to start with.
Oh, yeah.
And that 96,000 miles of that Magnum is nothing like the 96,000 miles on an old LA engine. That LA engine with 96,000 needs to be rebuilt and may need to be bored. That 96,000 on the Magnum, you'll still see the crosshatch.
Oh, yeah.
What we got right here? The wrench says, you guys need to find old school regrinders. Yeah, we know a few of them.
Yeah, but they're out there. You just got to hunt them down.
I've got a cam core for a 341 DeSoto that I'm going to have to get somebody to make a better cam out of because, that's all you got. So this 341 DeSoto is a quiet little project I got on the back burner. I'm waiting on a guy so I'm waiting on one guy who's in this chat right now who will eventually send me a piece of iron I need. And then another fellow's going to weld it in. And then it's going to go from there to the machine shop. And we're going to see some 341 DeSoto content. So all I'm waiting on. Camcraft in North Carolina. They do grinding? Well, that's cool. Where in North Carolina are they? Eastern and western part of the states. For western, I can just drop by and visit them. Wild Rose says the aftermarket olds heads aren't much better than a stock big valve head. Well, yeah. No, yeah, that absolutely. Dust Devil says the Magnum heads have a good flow. The only thing I don't like is the rockers. I like shaft rocker. It's just I like the old style better.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too on the Magnum heads too, they're notorious about cracking, especially if they get overheated.
Well, it's funny. The last version of the LA heads were the same way.
Oh yeah.
The 302 and 308, they would too. Lunar says, hopefully this coming weekend if they're in the yard. You should video that, Lunar. We're going to do a whole life cycle of that piece of iron on YouTube. A piece of a broken block will never have seen so much play.
Right.
Yes, I like the shaft rocker. Mr. Will's saying, will everyone check out a live I plan to do with my friend? Yes, get the live scheduled ahead of time. Go ahead and schedule it in StreamYard. Promote the thing. I'll be happy to share it. That's cool. Zero's got family. Where in North Carolina? What part? Because just like this state, it's real different from east to west.
Right.
All right, guys. We're a few minutes away. I know Jay at Rabbit Transit Garage is going to go live here in just a couple minutes. So we're going to get wrapped up. I want to thank my mods, and they're all here tonight. So Andy from Unity Motorsports Garage, Just Mopar Joe, Bad Tree Productions Blake, and Fubar the Axe, who often lurks. We don't always see him, but what's funny is I won't even know he's in here, and then I'll just see somebody, and I'm like, that was Fubar.
Oh, he'll sneak in and out real quick.
Yeah. I want to thank those guys. And I thank all of you guys watching. There's 85 of you in here right now. There's all kinds of things you could have done with your Friday evening. You chose to hang out with us. I appreciate it. Some things I want to plug. I got Mopar Al on here right now. A week from now, next Friday, I'm going to have Dallas Brown. We're going to do our regular every 2 weeks State of the Union for the No Name Nationals. Any progress, any things like that, ask your questions, that kind of thing. And then the next week, I'm going to be live with Andy Wood and David Vizard from North Carolina. So I'll be on scene down there. And so that will be really fun and exciting. And then I've got some pretty good guests planned for April. So keep watching if you want to come out and see any of that. What do you have coming up you want to plug, Al?
Basically, I'm still pecking away at Slag Hammer. I'm waiting on parts for the 5.7 build here at the house. We're getting ready to probably do some things on my son's 300 SRTA and try to get that in there and everything else. And but like I said before, man, what you and Dallas have done has been a great platform for everybody. So everybody that's on here on this live right now, if you've not subscribed to these guys or getting close to the 500, get over there, do it, get it done. I like to see everybody out there. I'm
really hoping, this is the chance. This is the one time that you're going to get to meet everybody. Because next year, we may have more people next year than this year, but we're almost certainly not going to have all the same people. As many people as we'll have, the odds are not all of them will make it. The odds are not all of them will still be living. The odds, that's just life. That's how life works, So, anybody could get hit by the bus in March or something. So we don't want that to be that way.
And I'm ready. Oh yeah, I'm really looking for the guys that are coming from Canada, Wild Rose and the other guy. I mean,
Big Belly
these
Racing.
guys are going to be making a trip, guys. If they can do it, y'all can do it too. I mean,
we have Wild Rose Garage, my next project, Big Belly Racing. They're all coming from Canada. Okay, Nolan's coming 30 hours each way. We have Wasted Talent Fabrications. Okay, so you guys have seen his channel. He's putting an LS in a Subaru. He is trailering that from Oregon, 2,186 miles each way from Oregon. He's going to spend $1,000 in fuel. That's hardcore.
Yeah, their fuel bill is going to be ridiculous, man.
If you want to meet him, this might be the only chance. I'm thrilled that he's actually making that sacrifice to do it. So come out, come to this event. This is the chance that we can all get together. I mean, so don't just say one of these years. Make it happen in September. I'm really thrilled for you guys.
That's right.
But all right, man. We're right at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. So right now, Jay from Rapid Transit Garage, he's firing up his live. I'm going to head over there. Rapid Transit Garage, this channel. I tried to highlight him. This channel right here, Rapid Transit Garage. Jay's going live right now. We'll shut down here. I'll see you guys over there. Yes, Chuck, No Name Nationals is going to be streamed all over the place. Just don't look for network TV necessarily.
But, oh God, there's going to be some people out there streaming that thing to be ridiculous.
If you can't find coverage of No Name Nationals, you don't have a pulse.
You just ain't got it in bed.
I'll see you guys all over on Jay's channel. Thanks.
All right, y'all have a good one, guys.
I appreciate all of you. Take care.
Appreciate having me on, John.
Oh, hey, thank you.